The alcoholic beverages industry in the APAC region has been hit at varying levels by the recent COVID-19 outbreak, driving many companies to innovate in various ways to survive. In this edition of the FNA Deep Dive, we speak to Travin Singh from Singapore Brewery Crust and Caitlin Tsai from Taiwanese distillery Kavalan to find out how this crisis has affected them and how they have adapted. But first, we find out more about these firms and what makes them unique in the APAC alcoholic beverage industry today.
We are the first ever distillery in Taiwan. 15 years ago, there is no one would say we can have a distillery built on the Far East Island in subtropical region. You can imagine those traditional whiskey producing countries, they are all in the cooler region. And Taiwan's hot climate actually pushes the whiskey in the cask to mature 2 to 3 times faster than cold whiskey producing countries. Imagine the high heat in summertime, it can reach up to 40 degrees Celsius. And also we are between 2 main mountains in Taiwan. One is Central Mountain Ranges, another one is Snow Mountain. So it's like a hand to receive the cold winds from Siberia in winter time. It brings a very good condition for oxidation for our whiskey. So it smells very aromatic, and also the color and the depth and all the flavor is very rich in our whiskey.
Beer is made of essentially water, barley, which is the grains, which is the malt, and hops and yeast, right? So bread, right, has the exact same ingredients except for hops. So it's essentially the same ingredients. That's why people actually associate beer as liquid bread as well. We will just replace about 30 to 40% of our grain bill with the bread. So the bread comes in and substitutes the barley and the malt part of things. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we do.
How has the recent COVID-19 pandemic outbreak hit Kavalan? Have you had to make any major changes so far?
The sales in overseas had dropped due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The negative impact cannot be quantified at the moment, but we expect and the recent sales is gradually recovering in the next few months, I think.
Before COVID-19, we actually had quite a number of media traction, which was always a good thing. And we actually had a couple of, I would say, like, in terms of like the investors coming in and like us getting a bit more cash flow so that we can expand. So we had all these opportunities, right? But the moment the virus came in, it became very difficult for everybody else to commit, and we understand why. So right now, we do a lot of B2C, and honestly, quite surprisingly, we have done pretty well for B2C. We actually launched 3 beers actually 4 beers in April, and each of those beers would have had its own launch like party or like day, right? But because of COVID, we couldn't do everything, so we had to do everything online, like just on social media and everything. So it has affected us quite badly at the initial stage, but right now I would say we are doing better than when we were only doing B2B.
Did you look at any sorts of perhaps NPD or different types of innovation in terms of products when you made this change?
So we right now have a beer with a plant called Ulam Raja. We collaborated with Edible Garden City, so we have been using their Ulam Raja collaboration beer. We also did a beer with Tiong Bakery using the baguette. So all these are basically the kind of beers that we are making are all made from either surplus product or product that are grown in an abundance, right? And these like farms have they don't know what to use it for, what else to use it for. Right now, I would say we are actually working on 3 collaboration beer. So we already have 3 collaboration beers in the market right now. So one is a Kaya Toast Stout that we make with 1925, another brewery in Singapore.
Okay.
So we added like pandan and coconut to a stout, and then so it's like your morning breakfast, right? Of like Kaya Toast with coffee. we just like reimagine and then with bakery, it's a baguette. We're using their surplus baguette, a light beer. We call it beergette. And then
that's cute.
Another one is called the King Taipei, and that's the one that we use the Ulam Raja plant inside. So we are currently doing a couple of test batches for other bars. So using like surplus like citrus peel or like pineapple husk and stuff like that. So not just doing bread beer anymore. So every single beer is still a bread beer, but we are looking at what other surplus product we can add in. So that's one. We are also currently doing a test batch on our own spirit because so about 2-3 months ago we had quite an unfortunate accident where our entire bottling went quite badly, and we had like I think about 2.5 bottles of flat beer. Other breweries, what they will do is probably they'll just either throw it away, or they'll probably still sell it. We try to find another way to reuse the product, and then we realize that a flat beer, because there's no carbonation inside, is actually one of the perfect things to distill into a spirit.
How has Covalent innovated or evolved to handle the crisis? Did you do any new product innovations? Did you look at new marketing strategies?
We have carried out a quality upgrade project of new make for our whiskey, and also having a new launch in Distillery Select series. It's specially designed for mixing. It showcases a very high quality whiskey at a very friendly price. So we select neutral cask, very high quality neutral cask, and our Distillery Select #1. Its characteristics of Taiwan's climate without too much influence from the wood. So it's more subtropical fruitness like mango, pineapple, and green apple flavor. And the #2 addition, we will deliver a completely different character. It's more floral and herbal notes in our whiskey. And the gin, it's our first edition for a gin series, and that one we use 6 different botanicals, something like you may be familiar with like juniper, aniseed, but we also add something local fruits like red flesh guava, and star fruit, and also kumquat. These are very known for local fruits in Yilan County.
If we look forward to better times, after this crisis, what are some of the major trends in the alcohol industry that you expect to see a change in?
I think these days, it seems off-trade spirits sales keep growing, and people tend to purchase in larger quantities. So like they like to buy 1 liter size rather than 700 milliliter. But when it comes to e-commerce sales, I think alcohol continues to soar with a huge increase overseas. And another is we think these days we feel moderate drinking is a universal concept. So maybe more bars and restaurants, they will start to offer low or alcohol-free alcoholic beverage. So that is also a tendency.
What do you foresee for the alcohol industry in APEC as a whole, as countries come out from lockdown, start to recover, and what are your hopes?
Although we still cannot predict the extent of the impact of COVID-19, but we will prepare ahead for our future project. So we are very confident in Covalent's potential for growth and also its ability to bounce back when the pandemic is over.
I don't think the world is going to go back to normal. I think things are going to change drastically. And I actually also do have a feeling a lot of people are going to start moving into like the B2C or e-commerce climate. Yeah, so that means people are looking into like actively doing their own deliveries. Cocktail bars are now doing a lot of like live bar sessions, right? So I think things are going to go in that phase of things. I think a lot of these live sessions and everything, instead of people going to bars, right, will be a thing. And I can't say for sure what's going to happen in the future as well. Like even for us right now, we are on a very reactive basis, right? I wake up in the morning, I've got no idea what to expect. But it's definitely not going to go back to normal.